The left who believes in science so much doesn't like science when it doesn't benefit them, do they? Rachel Gilmore is fired as a fact checker for CTV. I thought the carbon tax didn't add any money to our gas bill, you guys. Mark Carney continues to look horrible. And it becomes more clear every single day that this is the most important election in Canadian history. Welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie A.B. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I am so incredibly grateful for those who have. It truly means a lot. Like you guys know, we live in Carney, Canada. I am wax injured, if you will, and because of that I can no longer work, and my husband has a pretty good paying job, but when the groceries are $800 out of a paycheck, $400 a week, things get pretty expensive. So if you like criticism of the government and don't like the mainstream narrative and want to listen to someone new, please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys so much, and let's get right into it. So I'll tell you right now that the left is, doing their whole thing where they like to use science when it's convenient for them, although it's not really science because there's never been a one-size-fits-all medicine, but I digress. And they're like, oh, I can't believe Pierre Poilievre said that women have a biological clock. I'm sorry, have you guys not actually attended a science class? You know that women go through menopause, right? And it's like a fact of life, and then they can no longer have children. I do not understand how the left takes these semantics and feels good about themselves by repeating them. I'm sorry, you guys, but that's ridiculous. When there is a liberal MP that wanted to kidnap a conservative MP and bring him back to Hong Kong to likely get murdered, and we hear the left, the feminists, crying about Pierre Poilievre talking about a biological clock and people not being able to afford and their biological clock is running out. Do you think that he is lying? Do you think that real life people don't actually know that? Genuinely. Do you think that the left, there's that many people in Canada that don't actually know that there is such thing as a biological clock and it will run out and you do not get to have those years back? I am not sure what people don't understand about that. Unless you are rich and can afford IVF, unless you are in good physical health and can do IVF, unless you want to risk a lot of things and get egg retrievals, these things are not as easy as people lead them to be, okay? And I would just like to say that women deserve to live in an economy where they can make proper decisions for their bodies. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It makes me emotional because I don't know if, my daughter turned 12 today, okay? Yes, happy birthday to her. And 12 years ago, Canada looked a lot different. And I felt very confident having my daughter. And if it was 12 years later and I had to make that same choice and I was 19, I don't know what I would have been able to pick, especially with all of the pressure around me. Okay, and then imagine if I had pressure from the world going on. I can't imagine. So Pierre Poilievre is absolutely correct, and you guys just take a molehill and make it into a mountain, and we're so over it, because why don't you put energy into the fact that democracy groups around the world and across Canada are so upset that Mark Carney said, well, he said sorry for wanting to kidnap a conservative MP. So, he's learned his lesson. What did he say? It sounded exactly like Trudeau. A learning opportunity. Just like Justin Trudeau doing blackface was a learning opportunity for us. Okay. They also, by the way, when I think about blackface, the bots all over the place, all over TikTok say, well, Pierre Poilievre's voter history, despite him coming out and being against the things that he has voted on himself and changing his mind about things. This is coming from the crowd who literally was okay with Justin Trudeau doing blackface because it was in the past. And the past is the past for a liberal, but not for a conservative, right? Give me a break. Pierre Poilievre knows better than that, okay? He knows not to touch all of those things that you guys are so afraid of because he knows how left-leaning Canada is, all right? I just want to tell you that right now. I literally have told people this is another day of me telling people on the left that he thinks we are disposable and them arguing with me that he never said that or that I'm quoting his book incorrectly. He never in that book says that he disagrees with this. He is quoting it because he admires these ideas about the economy as a banker, okay? Because he doesn't look at us. He has not been in government. He has some people in government actually go in government because they care about their communities and their country. Mark Carney is doing it for opportunity, okay? He said yesterday that he's not repealing C-69. Big surprise there. I am very unsure how Canada gets ahead without repealing that bill, and his answer basically told me that he's going to rely on other countries across the world again. And how is that better for the environment? It's not. I have no idea what games that these people play and why they're doing this with Canadians, because Canada can't afford that. We need our energy sector to be booming. Okay. And then when I tell these people on TikTok, like, they're like, I can't believe people want taxes to be cut. You guys realize that they're embezzling our tax dollars, right? And not only that, countries like Switzerland and Denmark sell off their exports. All of these major companies, they'll be like, oh yeah, well they tax them. They tax them over 50% and they're happy. Yeah, they also value parents and families over there, by the way. Moms are literally allowed to leave work early to go pick up their kids and they don't lose any pay for it. Do you think that would ever fly over here in the West? I don't think so. Why would it not fly? Because we all know the left would be like, I'm not paying. I refuse to work at the same place where moms are working and they get to leave early and I don't. That is exactly what the left would do, because they don't have a sense of family and community anymore. They are so individually driven. It is insanity. Okay. And then they quote things like, oh, Sweden and Denmark do it great. Yeah, because they're exporting. They might be taxed out their butt, and I don't agree with that, but they also sell off their exports. That is an important part of having a rich country. And not only that, when we do it, we have the most ethical working conditions. We have the most ethical oil that there is, the most clean oil, the way that... Imagine, I can't believe that they've convinced us that a pipeline is worse for the environment than trucking over all of this oil and gas from friggin' Russia on a boat. I said it before in my videos and I'll say it again. That's ridiculous, you guys. We could have actually in the last 10 years actually done things for the environment, because yes, an industrial revolution to this caliber is not good for the environment. You can tell down south, I think something's going on with the weather, but that's whatever. It is an obvious thing that the more people that they shove down south, the hotter it is getting. The more trees that they cut down, the hotter it is getting. Down south is a nightmare. It is Satan's butthole. Okay, it is so hot. Why? Because we keep shoving people into Southern Ontario, which is exactly why we should not be picking Mark Carney, because he is for the Century Initiative. 100 million people in Canada. Are you guys serious? We might have all of this land. Do you know, people are like, let's just build up here. Let's just build at the top of Canada. Do you guys not understand how hard it is to build anything in Northern Ontario? That's all I can think about when I'm up here, is the fact that I came up here after the 11 was built, and how lucky I am that that was the case, because I cannot imagine how many cliffs they had to blow through. Literally, when you're going into New Liskeard and you look up the sides, you know that you're on top of a cliff between an even higher cliff. Okay, it's not as easy as people think, and it's going to take time if we want to build houses, which is it's a good thing to want to build houses, but it's also, let's be realistic about the infrastructure of Canada. It's not possible to build homes that quickly, and living in northern places in Canada is extremely hard. It is not for the faint of heart. I have so much snow. It is April friggin' 1st, you guys. Now, I know that God teaches you to love your enemies, and I am trying very hard, but I'm also human. And do we remember when Rachel Gilmore said this?
Are you going to invite your unvaccinated relatives to sit at the dinner table with you this Thanksgiving? Experts are saying you might not want to risk it. Here's why. According to one expert from McMaster University, vaccines are super effective.
Super effective. Did they use the word super effective? Did they use the word super effective?
Most effective when you're surrounded by other vaccinated people.
Imagine saying that your penicillin doesn't work as well unless you're around other people who are also on penicillin.
If you invite someone who isn't vaccinated, there's a risk of having a breakthrough case. Now, breakthrough cases are pretty rare.
Are they?
There's only ever been about 8,000 in Ontario. But kids can't get vaccinated yet. So part of keeping those kids as safe as possible is telling that one uncle who chooses not to get vaccinated that he might have to sit this one out. One bioethicist said that that's actually the more ethical thing to do. She also said you should try talking to your relatives about how safe vaccination is. The best way to do that is to start the conversation from a place of respect and empathy. Say things like, I understand you're feeling pressure. I know you're freaked out, but here's why this is important. You can read more at globalnews.ca.
So I have a hard time forgiving Rachel for that and feeling bad because
a bunch of bad faith right-wingers who hate me for no other reason than I have reported accurately on the things that people they agree with politically have said and done. They just swarmed, including someone who up until a week before the election was Pierre Poilievre's main spokesperson and is still on Pierre Poilievre's team. And yesterday, CTV called me and informed me that I've lost this career opportunity.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't feel bad for Rachel Gilmore because she doesn't report the facts. There has actually been one time, and it was, I can't remember this person's name, where I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who told me about this, and I thought it was a fake story because Rachel Gilmore covered it. The amount of things that I looked into with Rachel Gilmore, and they didn't actually end up being white supremacists or white nationalists or whatever it is, far right, that she would say, astronomical. So the one time that she did report on somebody who was actually far right and doing weird stuff, I didn't even believe her because she's such a liar and so incredibly biased, which, by the way, when you go to school for journalism, you're not supposed to be biased. You're not. I don't understand where she went to school that taught her that being a left-leaning journalist and only reporting on the right is going to get her anywhere. But Rachel, I don't know if you know this, but you do not point out things that are bad about the left. You do not at all acknowledge that there is a problem with obviously people who are very far left in this country. And that is what's wrong, okay? We don't hate you for no reason. We don't like you because you've slandered all of us. Like, that video of her was like one of the nicer videos, okay? Because the amount of names that she will call people on a regular basis, especially like the Million Man March, she literally reported that it was a bunch of us being homophobic and transphobic and all of these different things. She lives in Ottawa. She didn't come. Why wouldn't a journalist, if she's going to report on this story, go and ask people what's going on? We were not there against the LGBT people at all. In fact, there was a lot of us there who were LGBT. So that's just one example. Obviously, the Freedom Convoy I did not respect her in the slightest, but I digress. Let's move on. The left, all of a sudden, now that the carbon tax is not going up April 1st, but just rather being paused, is bragging about what Mark Carney did. And you can thank Mark Carney. You guys have been making fun of Pierre Poilievre for the last however many years for saying axe the tax and saying it would never work and it would never save money. You guys are serious? And you know what? There are things on the left or on the right in America right now that I am literally having the same exact thoughts about. Like, you don't want your money to, okay, fine, Doge, good that they took away so much foreign funding, but there's one place in particular that they did not stop foreign funding. So, and some of the stuff that's happening there right now, I just don't agree with it. But that's the lovely part of having an open mind, is that even when somebody that you wanted to win or agree with on most things, is there's something that you disagree on, you can actually do that. I feel like that is the most honest you're going to get from people is if they can admit that they were wrong about stuff and they can move on. Rachel Gilmore, the left, they don't do stuff like that, okay? It's like, I don't even know how sometimes you could be, like, I don't know how they don't live in cognitive dissonance. How can you be bragging right now that the gas prices went down because of Mark Carney, but been slandering Pierre Poilievre, who has had that idea? I digress. Mark Carney also looks at us like we are disposable. I've said that 100 times because that's the word to use. But in a better way to look at it is we are sheep. And they are the wealthy men that live very far away. Not even the farmers who farm the sheep. We are the sheep. Okay? That's what Mark Carney sees us as. Our value is how much we can produce for the elites. That is what Mark Carney is about. When I tell the left this online, they argue tooth and nail. And I'm not talking just bots. I'm talking real life people here, you guys. It is hard to watch the left defend this time and time again. They defend the fact that he said that we are disposable. They defend the fact that he is a wealthy billionaire, okay, because they are so brainwashed by our mainstream media. And I believe what they did to us in 2020, because isolating humans is number one on the MK you know what, because truly I have no idea how they wrap their head in ethics and morals around the fact that 2 months ago they would have been cheering on this man literally being you know whatted. Okay, I would never I never said that about Trudeau. I never said that about anybody because I would never say that about people. But that is what the left does and says and it continues to do to Tesla. I don't like Elon Musk either, you guys. He wore a New World Order shirt to the Met Gala in 2018. I do not trust Elon Musk. You don't see me at a Tesla place burning the place down because I'm a normal human, okay? And the irony of them burning electric cars has not surpassed me. You're telling me that these climate people who care about the climate so much are so mad that Elon Musk, who has already been in charge of quite a lot of projects to do with the government, by the way, is going in there and getting rid of a lot of different funding for different places. And they're so mad that they're burning down Tesla. They're burning Teslas. You guys are putting your morals and your ethics on the back burner once again because that is not good for the environment. But, you know, if the right did it, which, by the way, can you imagine if the Freedom Convoy did anything close to that? Hung in the gallows, we would have been, okay? But whatever, that is your daily report. Thank you guys so much for attending. It is time for me to go and prepare. I'm making pizza for my daughter's dinner tonight, homemade. I am so very excited. It is genuinely better than any store-bought pizza I've ever had. It is shocking. Or store-bought, yeah, like fast food pizza too. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful day and thank you so much for listening. Bye.